Hey, what's up? We're here with a new episode of Movie News, and we have a lot to talk about, so we're going to get right into it. Starting off with Michael B. Jordan might be directing Creed 3. Nick, what are your thoughts on this possible news?
On the Michael B. Jordan side, very excited just because he's a talented individual. If he wants to direct, then I'm excited to see what he does. Again, I'm just excited. He's one of those emerging talents in Hollywood right now, alongside like Robert Pattinson, Anya Taylor-Joy. So to see that he might try his hand at directing is pretty exciting. On the Creed side, I'm a bit more cautious just because I don't want because I loved the first Creed. I even really enjoyed the second one, and I think the second one kind of like tied up a lot of loose ends that the first movie set up. So the idea of them doing a third, like, there's always that caution of they'll push it too far, or like they'll overextend their hand, and it just might not work, and I don't want to do that, especially since like I love the Rocky franchise, I love the Creed franchise. But I mean, I feel like mostly if Michael B. Jordan is confirmed to direct it, that must mean he himself is doing it out of like he wants to do it, and it's not like some like money thing. So if there is a Creed 3, I will definitely be going to see it. If it's Michael B. Jordan, I'm definitely excited to see what his directing style looks like, if he tries anything, new and fancy. And we'll see in the future. I wouldn't mind returning to that franchise at all.
Yeah, I think for me, there are two sides to this. One hand, I love Michael B. Jordan as an actor ever since Fruitvale Station, which is an amazing movie, and I loved it when he teamed up with Ryan Coogler. And to me, it's a bummer because I'm pretty sure Ryan Coogler is busy writing Black Panther right now. Um, so I don't think he's available, which is just it stinks because I feel like the original Creed was Ryan Coogler's like baby that he kind of brought up, and I think he's a major reason that that movie is arguably the best Rocky slash Creed movie.
Mhm.
Uh, in the second Creed movie was like solid, but it didn't have that energy or the vibrance.
Coogler's flair was like missing.
It was 100% missing. And the director was like everything looked good, the fight scenes were good, but the build up to it didn't feel the same. And I think that's where someone having someone like Coogler is just really, really important to film like that. The other side of looking at it is that Michael B. Jordan has worked with Coogler on so many films that he may have learned a lot of, a lot of actors are very successful later on once they've been on sets with great directors, and they kind of see how they work and they kind of learn the process of how someone directs through acting. And so there's the possibility that Michael B. Jordan could have learned that, and hopefully he has that same creative flair that Coogler does that can kind of push a good movie towards being a great movie. Because to me, Creed is one of my favorite movies of the past 10 years.
Mhm.
And I just hope that if he is directing it, that he can live up to those expectations, which are very high expectations, to be fair,
Right, of
for
course. Gotcha.
someone's directorial debut, if it isn't true that he is directing the third Creed. So we're gonna move on. Tom Holland wraps Uncharted, and we saw the first image of him as Nathan Drake. So let's start with this. What did you think of the first image of him as Nathan Drake?
The first, it's a bit like because I've played the first Uncharted game. I unfortunately, it's funny. I have the rest of the franchise like sitting in my like we're in the container with all my other video games. I just haven't gotten around to playing the rest of them. Um, I wouldn't say like I'm as a diehard fan as a lot of people are, and I mean I love the first game. And another thing about what I'm trying to say is, with in concern with this first image, is that like Nathan Drake's like look is not like, I would argue, like the most one of the most iconic looks. Like you look at Indiana Jones, like that is one of the most iconic like looks in cinema. But with Nathan Drake, it's kind of hard to get wrong. I mean, you have the shoulder holster, you have the white shirt, you have like the hair. So like I think they got him. From the times that I was playing the game and all the walkthroughs I've seen, I think they nailed the look. Um, I think for me the look isn't necessarily like I just want to see like the performance basically. The first image, I think he looked all right. Again, like I said, it's not anything like casting him in like this very. It's not like seeing Robert Pattinson in the bat suit type thing. But I mean, he seems to look fine. He seems to like wear the outfit really well. And I don't know. I guess we'll have more to say once the trailer comes out or something.
Yeah, so I know as far as I'm concerned, I like the way he looks. He looks more like down and dirty, and I like that, like seeing the devil all the time. I'm like, oh, Tom Holland is like an actor. You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying that Spider-Man is not acting. It is 100% acting, and it's not an easy role either. But what I'm saying is he's more versatile, and he can do different types of things. He's not the kind of teenager not knowing what to do type person. So I think that look just kind of it furthers my excitement, but I'm not like, oh my God, this is going to be the greatest movie ever right now, or this costume is off the charts. It's just like cool, moving on. But what I will say is Sully, who's played by Mark Wahlberg, um, I don't know if you saw, there's a photo of him with his mustache.
Right. I did see that.
And I haven't played the Uncharted games yet, unfortunately. I'm probably going to get to them soon since quarantine has given me some extra time. But him in the mustache, to me, I mean, no context, right? I don't see him in the suit or in costume. It's just a picture of his head with the mustache or a video. It looks a little weird to me. Am I alone in that? Do you agree?
I think for me, and this is not a new opinion, but like I think just what's on my mind is the fact like Mark Wahlberg character wise is just it's just an unpredictable choice for Sully. Um, I don't know. I think because the image I'm thinking of, he was like in his like trailer or whatnot, right? That's
Right.
the same image. So I think maybe if we see him in like Sully often has a cigar with him or like is like lounging around type deal. I think if we saw an image like that, it might sell it a little bit. Like if we saw Tom Holland like as he was doing his makeup with that getup, it won't be the same effect as seeing Tom Holland like the jungle or whatnot. I don't know. I mean, Mark Wahlberg was in like a white t-shirt. Like who? It's not the. If we see a better first look, maybe. Um, I don't know. It's for right now. It is just Mark Wahlberg with a mustache. We'll see how it comes together. Hopefully down the line, I would like to see like now that they've wrapped or close to wrapping that some more first looks come along.
Yeah, yeah. I assume they probably have some more stuff with Mark Wahlberg left in the kind of supporting cast, and they're just like, Tom Holland, go over there for this other project we have to do, which we'll talk about in our next episode. But moving on, we have the Dreamland trailer featuring Margot Robbie. Now, what were your thoughts on this trailer, and had you heard anything about this movie beforehand?
This movie came out of nowhere for me. I didn't know about it until Margot Robbie posted the trailer on her Instagram. And at first, I thought she was just producing because I know she has another project coming out that she is just a producer on. So it's like, oh, okay. But then I was looking, and then I was like seeing like other posts about it. I was like, oh, she's actually starring in the movie, and I was like, that's so crazy because I love Margot Robbie. She's like one of my favorite actresses, and so for a whole project to just like come out of nowhere under my radar, I'm like, that's crazy. But I mean, it was released, I believe, at TIFF last year, and they've been like working around some sort of release since. And I think that's why I haven't seen anything. Margot Robbie had like 10 other projects coming out that probably overshadowed it. From what I've seen of the trailer, I think it could be interesting. Her co-star I've seen in the show Peaky Blinders, and he's pretty good there. So to see the two of them potentially play off, I'm intrigued. I know Robbie will do just fine. Um, I don't know. I mean, there's just the setting, the way the trailer is framed. I think it could be a pretty interesting story. It's the next one chronologically on my watch list, so I'll definitely be there to support Margot Robbie. I think it could be an interest. It looks to be an interesting time.
Yeah, I think the whole premise of the film of her being like a criminal on the run is very interesting. And it seems like there's some greater mystery that needs to be unraveled in the film that's going to be kind of like, oh, there's going to be some big flip from the way they played that trailer. Uh, I'm in, but kind of cautiously. I saw the first image for the trailer, or at least what the thumbnail for the trailer, and I was like, oh, this looks pretty cool. But I went further in and I was like, oh, this seems good, but I don't know. I'm not quite sold. I think a second trailer might be able to sell me
Right.
more than just it's Margot Robbie in a movie. She's gonna be great. Um, because that happened to me with another film which we won't talk about that released earlier this year, and I may not have thought it was so great. But
Mhm.
um, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that's how I'll put it. So we're gonna move on to No Time to Die, possibly exploring or explored, I should say, selling to streaming services such as Apple Plus and Netflix. Now, I have some thoughts, but Nick, I'm gonna let you go first. What did you think about all this?
For what is going to be Daniel Craig's last time as James Bond, I don't want it to see it in my home. I want to see it on. I want to see it in theaters. I think it's James Bond. It's a guaranteed action flick. It's a you have Daniel Craig. You have Joji Fukunaga, who directed True Detective. There's so much elements there that we have been saying for a while now in our previous episodes that just looks to be at the very least, a good and entertaining time. And I don't know, especially for an action film, I wouldn't like to see that just like in my house. Like I would love to see that on a theater, but if reality doesn't coincide with that, then I mean, it is what it is. We'll roll with the punches, but I, I would I would like to see this. I can't imagine seeing something like 1917 in my home. Like I would have loved to just like biggest screen possible, sound system, like the whole deal. And I don't know. I would for Craig's last time as Bond, I want to see that on the big screen. But again, who knows what's happening in the next few months with the industry and how whether we'll be getting out to see it or not.
Yeah, I agree. And some films really suffer from not being on the big screen, I've noticed. Like, I think a movie like Extraction would have been way better on the big screen than it was on
Mhm.
my TV. Like, I have a pretty big TV at my house, but it's nothing compared to a movie theater screen with the sound system.
Of
It
course.
it brings a level of engagement that you can't get from just watching at your TV at home. When you're watching in a theater, I mean, hopefully you're a good moviegoer and you're not on your phone the whole time.
Right.
There are no distractions. There's no pausing the movie. It's going like, and you're more wrapped into it. And I want to be completely wrapped into a James Bond movie. I don't want, someone having to use the bathroom saying, "Could you pause the movie?" Like, I'm not doing that. And
Mhm.
I mean, I don't do that anyways. But you know what I mean? Like, there are people that will do that, and it hurts the film itself. It's not the way it's really intended to be watched. And I just think a movie like that could make so much money on the big screen when people come back to theaters.
Right.
Like say Tenet was supposed to be the first thing, but it didn't really do it. Say we get a vaccine sometime in the next year and people can start going back to movie theaters. People are going to go nuts. And
Mhm.
people are going to want to get out of the house so bad and just have escapism. And James Bond is a perfect film to escape into a whole different world.
Mhm.
So I'm really happy that they didn't sell it. There are some people saying the reports aren't true at all, which I'm not sure if that's like, I think they may be just throwing smoke. I'm pretty sure they did explore it, or at least they listened to offers from Netflix or Apple Plus. But I'm glad that they're committing to the theatrical release. But we're gonna move on to Hillbilly
Elegy. Elegy.
Elegy trailer. Now, what were your thoughts when you first saw this trailer?
I was really wrapped up into it. For those who don't know, it's directed by Ron Howard of Cinderella Man and Solo fame. It stars uh, Gabriel Basso from I've seen him in Super 8 as our core protagonist, and then as the two main supporting characters, you have Glenn Close from The Wife and Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Amy Adams of it's Amy Adams. You know who she is. And I was wrapped up in the trailer. It looks to be like kind of like classic family drama, but it also seems to be just the factors behind the film I'm very excited for. In particular, Amy Adams, who is one of my favorite actresses. I think it's an absolute crime she hasn't won an Oscar yet. she's been nominated 6 times. It's insane. And I know also like Glenn Close hasn't won an Oscar yet either. And the one thing that really sold me on the trailer was that it looks like at the very least this could secure noms, and hopefully, knock on wood, I don't jinx anything, but I don't know. It just looks they look to be doing their thing, giving a lot of like powerhouse performances. Ron Howard is a very reliable director between Cinderella Man, Solo. Trying to remember what else. Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, which the latter he won the Oscar for. I think that it could come together really well. I think it's going to be a pretty cool drama to check out. I'm there for it for Amy Adams, but there's the trailer looks to be just a very emotional, a very grounded story. And again, Amy Adams and Glenn Close look to be, and Gabriel Basta look to be the core trio that are playing off each other. And for that alone, that really excites me. And I don't know, yeah, that's about it.
For me, I think it's more of the star power than anything.
Mhm.
Ron Howard's a great director. I know him for some different movies than you do because I haven't really seen too much of his filmography. But I was a massive fan of Rush when it came out. In the Heart of the Sea, I was a fan of. I don't know if that's a popular take to be a fan of that movie. I don't know.
I haven't seen it though.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Solo, which I recently rewatched, and it's a way better movie than I thought it was.
Mhm.
The Da Vinci Code, which I love the book for the Da Vinci Code, and the movie is it's not necessarily, I don't know, it's maybe not the best movie, but it's one of those movies that I love.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited for him to come out with a new film. Amy Adams is always just like amazing whenever she's in a role, and Glenn Close is spectacular as an actress. So while the trailer was just like, I'm like, cool, I'll watch it when it comes out on Netflix, because that's kind of how Netflix trailers have me. At least as of recent, there hasn't been anything that I'm like, whoa, that's coming out on Netflix, even if it will be a great movie. But that's kind of my thoughts on that matter of the trailer. But moving on, we have Sherlock Holmes being reportedly on the back burner, according to its director. For me, this is really a bummer. I was a massive fan of the first one, and I kind of was able to stand the second one. But I love Guy Ritchie. I don't know if he's directing the third one. I don't think so, actually.
Actually, I think if I remember correctly, I think I read it was actually Dexter Fletcher of Rocket Man fame.
Yeah. I think that's right. But the point is, it's on the back burner. I'm bummed. I really want to see Robert Downey as Sherlock again, because I had so much fun with Robert Downey Jr. as Sherlock, and then Watson being Jude Law. Like that's just a great combo. Those are two great actors. I want RDJ to get into another role that's not Doolittle, no offense. That's something a little bit more serious, but still has that fun energy. Because Sherlock's kind of like Iron Man in a way, that cocky know-it-all, but it's just a different version in a detective form. And I'm a big fan of those kind of detective mystery unraveling. You're always one step behind the character type things.
Mhm.
So I really want to see a third Sherlock movie, but I also understand that you want to have it be a good movie, so you'd rather have them take the time and get it right. But what are your thoughts?
I mean, I haven't seen the RDJ's Sherlock films just yet.
Gasp.
I might, just because I am excited. I want to see more of Guy Ritchie. His film The Gentleman is still hanging in there in my top 10. I think that was like a really fun time. So I will eventually get to those films. For it being put on the back burner, I mean, again, like you said, as long as it's a good film at the end and they take the time to properly develop it, then that's what matters. I am excited to see Dexter Fletcher though, because I really loved Rocket Man. That was like one of my favorite films from 2019. So I think the chance for him to hop onto Sherlock, I'm excited to see what that happens. And we know that RDJ and Jude Law are ever reliable. So as long as it's a good product in the end, that's what matters.
Yeah, I think the product is always, that's the be all end all. But with that ends our segment of movie news. thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts on the topics we talked about. And we'll see you next time.
Peace out.